Hello, everybody. Well, if you're looking at my screen, the first question that you would probably ask is, what the? Of course, no foul language, but it's crazy because all you see is numbers. You see these, you see command. Like, what is this? Well, welcome to the world of cybersecurity, wherein you think like the attacker. Before the attacker attacks, you must be in a position. Oh, do you all like my hats? It's giving a state trooper vibe. But anyway, let's go back to the discussion. You think how an attacker would break into your system, and then you create rules, security rules to prevent that from happening. So what are you looking at is I am trying to do a simple setup wherein you will see in real time how a malware can be transferred from one server to your host PC or network. So before we go into that, cybersecurity is a fun thing, but then you must be willing to push some buttons. At least that's where we all start, and you should be in the position to prepare yourself to be pushing more buttons. So now let's go. I have a virtual box. What we're gonna do is we're gonna isolate our machine so that we ensure that whatever that we're doing, in if it's a real full-blown malware case, it's always best to have your files in a containerized environment so that way your malware does not escape into your production systems and eventually co-opt yourself. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up the isolation mode. I already did some of those things to save time, but I'm gonna show you. That's for the Windows 11. I'm gonna go into settings, and then I'm gonna go to network. Make sure you disable all other networks, and then you change your adapter 1 to host only adapter, meaning that the Windows should be able to communicate to the Linux. So once you're done with that, this is my Linux, and then the next thing I'm gonna do is go to settings, and then I'm gonna go to network. Of course, make sure you have your adapters. This is if you want to do internet, but then make sure you stick to the host only adapter, and then we would be able to get started with the fun stuff. You want to see in real time how virus and malware can transfer from within the network. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna assign some IP addresses. So if you don't know what an IP address is, then I suggest you look out for networking foundational tools so that we can help you speed up your security tasks. As a cybersecurity professional, we don't too care about the roles of network engineers, but then it's important that you know this task. Oh, I love this. Okay, let's get back to this IP link. So let's see what's going on. It gives us the status of exactly what's going on. If it says up, then that means this link is up. If it says down, of course, you know it's obviously down. And then we're gonna look at these ones, and then it says broadcast, and then we have our adapter, and then we have this adapter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to assign some IP address. So for me, I already did um assign IP address. So it's gonna ask me for my address. Oh, let me see. Sorry, let me do this. Uh, so hold on. Okay, okay. So let's do it one more time. That's the whole point of making you break stuff, you fix it, and you ensure that in real time when an attack occurs, you should be able to do that. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna assign this IP address. So just follow the command that you see on your screen. Pause if you may, and then once you're done, you can just move forward to the next step. Okay, I'm gonna assign this to this adapter, and then oops, moving too fast. Boom, and it's gonna ask me for my password. So you see, it says the IPv4 address is already assigned, meaning that I already did this step. So go ahead and add this IP address for this particular Linux. By default, it's going to be assign itself to a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Of course, if you don't know what a subnet mask is, again, make sure you go find out something that has to do with the what is it called, networking basics, and you will be fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring our IP address up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna say IP link eth1, and then we're gonna do up and enter. Boom. So now if we go back to this, you see that our IP, this link is up and ready for our next steps. So you want to confirm if you did it correctly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go address, and then we're gonna show dev eth1. Bam. So you see it's already assigned to this IP address, and it should be pretty good. So now we're gonna go to the Windows laptop or computer. Man, I'm getting too old. If I'm moving too fast, make sure you pause the video and ensure that you rewind to where you need to go. We're gonna assign this. We're gonna give it a static IP address. So control panel, network, and internet. Oops, sorry, network and internet. And then we're gonna go to network and sharing center. We're gonna go to change adapter settings, and then once that is done, we're gonna right click, go to properties. We're gonna look for our IPv4. Did I just say IPv? Yeah, IPv4 version. And of course, I already have these IP address to sign. So you pause this video and then make sure you have this, and then you have your subnet mask. Leave the default gateway blank. And today you just made a script kiddie. Just follow exactly what I'm doing, so that way we see exactly how, you know, a malware can transfer from a host network to, you know, your PCs, your destination PC. So now we're gonna go ahead and do our firewall. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a custom setup. So I'm gonna spin up my control panel again. I'm gonna go home, and then the next thing we're gonna look for is we're gonna search for Windows Defender, and then this is gonna come up. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna look for our inbound rules. So we're gonna go to advanced settings, and of course when it says inbound means connection that are coming in, and then outbound rules are just the ones that are going out. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna ensure that we go create a new rule on this right end. And my PC is a little bit slow, but then I just want you to be patient with me. So we're gonna go custom, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to program, we're gonna use all, and then protocol, we're gonna use any, and then of course for the scope of this, we're gonna go to the IP address for this. So we're gonna use the local IP. So I'm gonna go to add, and then so I'm gonna go 10, that's 1.37.2. Okay, so we're gonna add this, and we should be good. So now what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go to action. We're gonna ensure that it allows the connection and a profile. We're gonna ensure that it's private, and then the name. Um, so we're gonna say allow hosts only lab traffic, and once you're done, you should go finish. And so we're gonna try to test the connectivity to see if that command worked. So we're gonna go back to, yeah, I know, sorry about the noise in the background, but yeah, so we're gonna go to honest admin, and then so what we're gonna do is, so from the Windows we're gonna ping 10.1 3.37.2, and then from this, see, it's 0% loss, which shows that we have communication. And then from our Linux, we're gonna do ICPN. Let me slow down. We're gonna send a control message protocol and see what's going on if this is active. Mind you, I already have these, and we're gonna go with that. Okay, so it's gonna take a while. We've seen that. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna create a test file on the Linux and see how that works. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and let me see if this works. Oh no, it's only for Linux. Anyways, it's good to have that. So we're gonna go to creating our file. So we're gonna make our directory, and then we're gonna do our flag. This just copy, follow along with me, and we're gonna go ahead and change directory. So whenever you see the CD, we're creating a folder, and then oh yeah, you gotta be very careful with the commands like this, because if you don't say mk, then the computer it's gonna ask you, what are you doing? So now I created the directory, we have the lab, and then once it's created, I change the directory from my home direct into this folder. So now we're gonna go and do some malware file creation. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this, and you can pause this and you can copy this whenever you have the time as you do your lab. And I'm gonna do ls to ensure that the file that we have created is there and ready to do. So next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a zip file of this particular malware file that we just did. So if you don't have that, what you're gonna do is we're gonna do sudo apt, and then we're gonna update. And once we're done, yep, there we go, you do install the zip. So for me, I already have the zip already installed. We're gonna create a password protected zip, because if you don't do that, there would be tendency for, I already have it installed, so make sure you do this command. Make sure you pause and go through the command, and then enter your password. You should be able to see that. So I'm gonna clear my screen so we see a decent work. And folks, make sure you have some type of drink in your hand, okay? All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a zip file for this. So that's the command. The good thing about Linux is that you get to just type in the command, unlike Windows, which is more like the graphic user interface when you just do this, and but then for Linux you get to pretty much do the command. So I'm gonna do enter, and then you see it says zero store. Don't worry about that, because it's already a small file. So yeah, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a basic um server. Okay, so you should be able to install, well, depending on the system that you have, Python should already be installed. And if that's the case, what you're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and create the HTTP server, and then we're gonna give it port 80, and then we're gonna tell it to listen only on our Linux machine. So I'm gonna do that, and so now the server is already started. So let's see if we can, you know, get this file from the Linux system. So I'm gonna go ahead and enter my IP address. I'm gonna go HTTP. Of course, you already know it's not secured because there is no S to that. I'm gonna do this, and that's one. That's our, and then we're gonna do 80, which is the port. And then we're gonna go ahead and get our zip file. So you see, automatically once the URL address is installed, you know, we get the automatic where is it, the get command, and then we see the 200, which is the OK server code. And if you were to do something that's not within, the server, it will give you like the 404, error and things like that. So now we have our file, and that's how malware pretty much transfers from. So let's see, our password is this guy right here, infected. So we're gonna go and do infected, and just like that, that's how you get the malware to move from within your network. Now make sure you always do this in a containerized environment, or you would be in a position where you would end up be downloading malware and would affect the daily operations of your network. So now what you're gonna do is, if you go to the event log, it gives you series of information as to exactly what's going on within your system.